represent, like you were just saying, you would never have a woman in a Dodge Ram ad. Well, we haven't so far, but maybe that's a thing. Maybe there's some subculture of women who drive Dodge Rams,
Yeah.
and maybe that is an untapped market that, people are missing out on because they feel like they don't look this, people who drive Rams are not women, or, you know what I mean? I
It
feel
would
like,
probably stand out because it'd be so, at some point you aren't going to find the guy with a deeper voice or in a, more
right.
cowboyish. You
What would
know?
happen, what would happen is you would have so many women.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the IC Pixels podcast. This is David,
And this is Anthony.
and this week we have another guest. Just like last week, we had a guest. This week we're talking about a topic that required a guest because it has it's related to women. So our guest this week is
The woman.
Yeah, a woman, conveniently. So our guest this week is Sophia. She we've talked to her before on a previous episode. I don't remember the episode number. But we talked to her. You might know her from her video series on YouTube, Ask a Black Girl, where she answers questions that have been asked to black girls. So we're talking to her today, and we're talking about kind of women in advertising, or women in advertising. That's what we're talking about. So, Sophia, are you here?
I am here.
Well, welcome
Yeah.
back.
Thank you.
You're our only second time guest.
Oh, I'm so honored.
So you were in a special group of people.
Thank you. Thank you. There's only one of me in this group, and it's nice.
How is the I almost said awkward black girl again. How
Well,
how is
I'm
that going?
34. If you're referring to the awkward black girl behind it, yes, I'm 34. No, Awkward black girl is a little over a year old. A little over a year. A year and like almost 6 months. Yeah, a year and 6 months. It started January of last year. So
Okay.
whatever. Oh my gosh, this is September. I'm still stuck in July. I apologize. So yes, it is a year and 9 months old. Sorry.
Wow.
My bad.
As I saw you did like a whole marathon and like
I did.
all kinds of. It's like wow, that's
Yes, we had a 5K and it was awesome. It turned out to be amazing, more than I could have imagined. It was great. It was a difficult feat to say the least, but it turned out really good.
what was that called? It was like racism is petty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Called the Racism is Petty 5K to benefit the Sickle Cell Association of Kentuckiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they really struggle with funding here, and it is something that affects our community. So I wanted to see what I could do to help them out.
Okay. And did you end up putting that together all together yourself or like?
I did.
Oh wow.
It was interesting. I thought of it last October, and I was like, first of all, I love doing 5Ks and marathons and all those things, and I broke my ankle again last year, and I haven't been able to run. So I was like, man, I wish I could do a 5K. And I was like, you know what? I can't do one, but I can try to
make other people do it.
For a lot of reasons. I do 5Ks and I noticed that there's like me and maybe 3 other black people, and it sucks that we don't really do that sort of thing. So I wanted to do something to try to encourage black people to run for selfish reasons, because I don't want to be the only one doing 5Ks here. But also to help benefit the Sickle Cell Association. And I just decided to go with the whole theme of that shirt that I came up with a while ago, and just went with that. Racism is petty. I wanted it to be a bold statement that would make people think about whether or not they would be willing to wear that statement on a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer to that question was no, then they would be forced to think about why they didn't want to wear that. And the people who said yes would be bold enough to wear it. So it would be a win-win as far as starting conversations about racism, helping out sickle cell, and helping me not be alone running 5K. So it was
most importantly,
all those things in one.
Yeah, nothing's wrong with a little selfishness if,
Right.
you have some other things on the side.
Right. Yeah.
well, that worked out. I thought it was interesting, and because even the statement, it's not like super like aggressive.
Well, I'm
Well,
sure
really?
there's
Like-
probably some people that would have put on a shirt that said racism is petty, like with a question mark at the end, like really?
Yeah. You're right. It was funny because when we were doing our packet pickup a couple of days before the race, some people just walking by saw the shirt and was like, I want to buy one of those. White people. And I was like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, you can buy one of these shirts and please wear it.
Well, because it says something without saying like like you're a horrible person because you're. I mean, even if it's true, it I don't know. It just I don't know how to describe it exactly, but I think it works.
Yeah, I think so too. So that event turned out really good.
Oh, okay. So you're doing it again next year? Wait, was that this year?
That was this year. That was
Okay.
in June.
Okay.
Oh, and it was sort of like a pre-Juneteenth celebration. It was on June 16th.
Oh, okay. Did you tell people that too, or?
I did.
Oh, okay. Man, I got you here. Thank you for celebrating.
Right. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. They're like,
Everybody
what?
looked around like, what?
We didn't sign up for that.
Bamboozled.
So if someone wanted to still get one of those shirts, are they still available?
They are. You can purchase one from the racismispetty.com website, and I believe I also have them on the askablackgirl.org as well. I need to double check. But yes, they can still purchase those. Please still purchase them.
Check if they're there or check if it's .org or .com.
There's racismispetty.com, and then there's
Okay.
askablackgirl.org.
Oh,
They
okay.
should be for sale on both of those sites. But if not, they are for sure for sale on the racismispetty.com.
Okay, we'll have to put a link to that.
So when I heard about the 5K, I was really interested in it. I mean, I knew I probably wasn't going to make it to the actual event, but I thought it was a really good idea because a lot of these events like this, if you're not there, there's no way to participate or do anything. And I felt like it was cool that there was like ways to virtually, digitally, whatever, online participate without actually being there. And I've never seen anyone do that before. So I thought it was cool. I meant to buy a shirt, and that's why I asked the question because I was like, because it's like one of those shirts I want to wear to work because I work with a lot of people who might not know, so it's like I need to spread this message.
Yeah. So you tried one of those asking for a friend type thing?
Well, I'm asking for our listeners, and I'm one of the listeners.
Nice.
I have this friend that needs a T-shirt, and I was hoping that maybe.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you can still get a shirt.
Awesome. Consider it. Well, I will buy one one day.
If I still have a lot of shirts left, I am thinking of doing another virtual race in November to also help Sickle Cell of Kentucky, but also get rid of the rest of the shirts as well. So that might be a thing if they're not all sold by that time.
Well, I mean, I know that September is actually Sickle Cell Awareness Month or something like that. Sickle Cell Month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Darn! I should have done it this month. I did not know that. I had no
Oh
idea.
yeah, because Nick. I mean, whatever your name is, David.
Wow, that's your brother.
Yeah, I must. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it is
And for the next
Sickle
one.
Cell Awareness Month. So my wife does a lot of writing about sickle cell and stuff like that, and yeah,
Because your daughter
yeah,
has.
because my daughter has sickle cell.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that either. I don't know why I would have known that, but wow.
Well, it sounded like he wasn't going to mention it.
Right.
It's like, my wife does a lot of writing about it for no reason. I'm not going to back that up with any kind of reason.
Hey, she does things.
It's a serious thing that even people in our community don't know about.
Yeah.
I learned so much preparing for the race, and I know a lot of other Black people and Hispanic people don't know that even the trait can cause really bad symptoms. Yeah, I did not know that. And a lot of people born, what is it, born before 86 are not tested at, or were not tested at birth. So a lot of people have the trait and don't even know it, you know?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, so, support. I mean, even if people still buy shirts, I believe it's good to the shirt has a good point to it, and also you have the opportunity to support a good cause. So get out there and do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's not why I'm here. Sorry.
All right, now that we've promoted all your stuff, so the reason why we wanted to bring someone of the opposite gender on was to talk about basically women in advertising, and I don't necessarily mean, well, I mean that in two ways. One way is obviously like when I've worked in the graphic design, marketing, promotion business, I've run into a lot of women. I run into more women than I do Black people, and that's cool. But what I wanted to talk about was, in addition to that, was just using women in promotional materials or advertisements, things like that. Because a lot of times when you see women in advertisements, it's more for the sex sells part of selling things, and it's not just, hey, here's a woman doing something, or here's a woman as our spokesperson who's not necessarily sexy per se. So
I'm sure somebody thinks that the lady that does Popeyes commercials is sexy.
Maybe. I mean,
all right, go ahead.
No judgment, but like I don't think there definitely are some that I don't think are used to promote like sell sex per se. It's not blatant. Like the lady that, like, that's the power of Pine Sol. That lady, she's like someone's mom. Like, so I think when you're marketing to mothers or homeowners, housekeepers, whatever.
Are you saying that moms can't?
I don't know. That's why we brought someone else on, because I don't know if as a woman seeing like a Victoria's Secret ad with like all the Cleveland out there and all that type of stuff, does that affect you, or nah, you just ignore it?
That's sort of a loaded question. Okay, so I don't see a problem with using women to advertise. I think it's just smart marketing, just like you talked about the woman with the Pine Sol. She is used because she's like someone's mom. Like was that Anthony? Y'all voices are really similar on here. David, sorry.
I haven't been saying anything.
David, you said that. She's like someone's mom. I think it's smart to use someone who will attract your target audience. So if you are trying to target men, there's nothing wrong with using women. Now, I do have a problem with over-sexualizing women to target men, because I feel like, first of all, not all men are going to respond to that the same way. It's kind of like dumbing men down as well. Like, that's the only way to get them is you have to use a naked woman in order to get men. You can't, that's just, you can't assume that. But I do feel like in order to attract men, there's nothing wrong with using women. Just like in order to attract women for some things, there's nothing wrong with using men. I mean, that's just how marketing works. That's how anything works. If you're trying to target a certain audience with something, you have to use what will attract them. I think there's a difference between using it and misusing, which is what happens in a lot of advertising, over-sexualizing women. But I do think if your target audience is men, you should consider using a woman. She probably should be attractive in some way. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. Just like if you're I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but you've seen commercials, and this is something we often ignore. We talk about over-sexualizing women in commercials, but there was I think it was YoPlay, had an ad out, and they used men for this ad that they were doing. And they didn't have on a shirt, or they would start out with a shirt, and then they would take the shirt off, and then all the women would gawk at them, blah, 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 and all he had was some yogurt. And I don't know how that tied in, but their target audience is women in a certain age category, so they used men. They tried that. I see that not as often as I see over-sexualizing women, but that's also a thing. We don't talk about that. Like, why do we have to use a naked man or a half-naked man to get women to eat YoPlay yogurt? I'm not sure. But I think you do have to use what will attract that audience. You shouldn't misuse it. You shouldn't have to be naked for men to buy whatever product it is. But it is.
Well, it seems like, at least from my perspective, I would say it seems like sometimes some companies just go with what's easiest. Like, so if I know I'm marketing to black people, we're going to put some rap music in the commercial. And that's just the easy blanket approach. And same with men. If I'm marketing to men, naked women, if I'm marketing to women, I don't know, something about home ownership, or I mean, not home ownership, but like kids and flowers and pink. I don't know.
Stability.
All of that is sexist.
Yeah. But I completely, I'm not hiding that fact. But you'll see it, and like if you stay up late enough, you'll see it in those commercials you see late at night, because it's like, we don't feel like thinking about this. Black people, rap music. Like, it's just, let's go for the easy kill.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking about like a couple of years ago when, like, was it GoDaddy that did that? Like for Super Bowl? I don't even remember the commercial, but I remember it was like a thing, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, what?" But I really don't remember it, so I always wonder, like, when that is misused, or it's used in a way that, I don't know, isn't effective. Gets attention, but I don't know how effective it is. Like.
Right. I think that's what it is. I think it's the safest route. I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with, if you're trying to target black people, there's nothing wrong with using something that will attract black people. But you do have to realize that it's not always going to be rap music. You can't use a stereotype to attract black people, but you should use something that will attract black people. For instance, Nike.
Yeah. They're winning right now.
What is the blackest thing we could do to attract black people? Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? Which I think they went out on a limb and all the things that we already know and understand about that ad. But they decided to go outside of the stereotypical box, unlike, say, McDonald's, where they use rap music and, Sprite and stuff. All those companies that kind of go the stereotypical route to attract black people. But there's nothing wrong with doing certain things that will attract a black audience or a female audience or a male audience. There's nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong when using stereotypes or misusing things that will work. Don't misuse it, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, okay, I have a question. Because in one of our previous episodes, we talked about, like, kind of design stereotypes and stuff like that. Like, if I see an ad that's obviously targeted at black people, where they're doing the cliche, like, spray paint on a brick wall, they have rap music and all that type of stuff, I have a tendency to ignore it versus an ad that's more well designed and, like, they actually really tried to target me. So from your perspective, like, if you see an ad that is obviously trying to target men with or whoever, or gay women, or I don't know, whoever, but is using the whole sex sells thing, do you ignore it, or do you pay more attention to it than you would one that's better thought out?
I love commercials and I love advertising, so I'm drawn to the ones that are better thought out. Unfortunately, the others I'm completely desensitized to, so I don't even notice them anymore. We're bombarded with so much advertising. It's just everywhere now as far as social media and stuff is concerned. I was looking for a sofa, and now I'm tired of seeing all these sofa ads on Instagram. So we're bombarded with this stuff. So the bad things I can easily just tune out. But if it's really good, then I'll notice. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
That does.
Yeah.
So I think it's like I'll say for me personally, like some people will try and use women in advertisements in the cheap, like the slutty type of way, which works for some people. But I think, like you said, we've seen so many advertisements and there's so many things and so much porn on the internet or whatever. So you don't need to. It's not as effective. At least I don't think it's as effective for me personally, because I can easily ignore it. It's got to be like really, really good for me to even pay attention to it. And like I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of any, but like
it probably had to be somebody that is known now at this point, because it couldn't just be anybody.
Well, if it's like a really attractive person in a commercial, and like my friend's like, "Hey, did you see that commercial? The girl is really attractive." Then I might watch it once, but I'm not. It's not going to influence me.
When was the last time that happened to you?
Long time ago.
I feel like, honestly, I feel like advertising has gotten smarter. I feel like if you're still using women to sell cars, that's like dated in 90s. Like nobody does that anymore. If you want to sell a car, you got to like do something amazing now. You know what I mean? You got to drive that thing off a cliff. You know what I mean? Like nobody, it used to be where you could just put a half naked woman and have her pose on the car and the cars would sell that. No, but I feel like advertising has gotten a bit smarter in that, I don't really see that as often.
Or at least they try to be smarter, like, like thinking about that Pepsi ad with Kendall Jenner. Like they tried to be smart about that one. Yeah. But I mean that backfired, but it's like they were trying to go for that deep feel, like what Nike did right.
Right.
They did completely wrong. Like they tried to go for that and like,
Yeah. I feel like people are realizing like, hey, I guess we can't just use sex to sell everything. Now we have to think smarter, and they're not quite there yet, but I do feel like you don't really see, or at least I don't really see those types of ads as frequently. That was really 90s, early 2000s type.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is like now because advertisements are so targeted, like you said, you were looking for sofas and now they're everywhere. So today I went to IKEA and I looked at I was looking at a TV stand, but then I don't know how, but Instagram started showing me ads for sofas and stuff. And now that it's so targeted, I think it's you like I'm sure there's probably ads like that out there where it's the cheap sell, but we're not going to see them because of our search habits and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't even watch TV, so I can't even speak on what commercials come on TV. I don't know what happens.
Yep, I don't watch TV, so I don't. Maybe that is still a thing. I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to do that one day. I have no idea what commercials they're selling. I just see YouTube commercials and stuff like that, but that's obviously targeted and
Yep. Yeah. I used to watch TV for the Super Bowl, but now I don't watch that. So.
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
I know. So disregard everything I just said about advertising.
Like we don't know. I mean, but that's an interesting thing because it had to get smarter because the search algorithms got smarter and targeting got smarter. So it's kind of like, well, we don't need to sell you with this because we'll just put what you want right in front of you. This is what you're looking for. Because I feel like the only time things get attention is like, okay, like Rihanna puts out a line or something, then it gets a lot of attention. Or it's like, oh, okay, this person's the face of whatever, then it gets attention. But if it's just like, I mean, not that they're a nobody, but you know what I mean, like not a known person.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's nice. Okay. I think a lot of times now people are actually, I would say almost a little more than sex, even though it's kind of connected to it, people sell image more now.
Yes.
Especially like on social media and stuff like that. And it may not even be to, a woman trying to sell to a man. It's a lot of times I think it's women trying to sell to women or men trying to sell to men. Like a certain, I know we've bashed people that sell Fit Tea a lot on this podcast, but they're our sponsor this week.
Shout out to what is it, Flat Tummy Tea?
Does that work?
Yeah, because I feel like that's the thing that they sell to each other, but not so much.
Yeah,
Which is interesting. I don't know.
I will say, from what I've seen, it honestly seems like women are selling sex to women now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like all the thotty Instagram ads and stuff are marketed to women, not men.
So
Like women like this. So that's kind of the route that's going. I feel like mainstream advertising, I feel like perhaps they don't do that anymore.
So okay, so I have more questions. So does that work? Like when a woman is selling sex to a woman, not necessarily sex, but like
Sexy.
yeah, they're selling like they got the Fashion Nova discount code. Do you like use that? Well, not you don't have to tell me if you use it, but like, does that work from your perspective?
I am a prime member of Fashion. No, I don't shop at Fashion.
They have 2-day free shipping.
I don't shop at Fashion Nova. However, I do think it works.
Yeah.
I do think it works because I have seen some people I follow on, say, like YouTube. They will buy certain things from Fashion Nova based on an ad they saw on Instagram and get it. And there's a whole thing of like what I expected it to look like and what it actually looks like. That's because people buy these things expecting to look like this when they put it on, and then they put it on and then it doesn't. That's actually a thing. Like these videos on YouTube, what I thought I ordered or what I expected to look like versus what I actually look like. That's the thing.
Huh.
I think it does work. I do feel like maybe a lot of women don't want to admit maybe that you low-key want to look like this if you buy certain things.
Yeah.
I can't speak.
So there was a
No.
time when I followed like one or two. Well, no. I followed like one entrepreneur, and
There was a time.
yeah, there was a time like yesterday, earlier today. So one thing I noticed. Well, actually, no, it wasn't even someone I followed, but I went to somebody's page. Let's say it was some nice young lady. Anyway,
Angela Simmons.
no, I don't follow her. But anyway,
Okay.
I saw, how when you go to somebody's page, you see under their name, they'll say, these people also follow them? Like people you follow them?
Mhm.
And I wasn't surprised, but I saw a lot of people that I follow, like women and people I know, and also some people I don't know that follow this same person. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because based on her content, I would assume they wouldn't follow her, but they did, so.
Yeah, that's why Flat Tummy Tea and all those, teas were selling, and the waist trainers. When you saw the people advertising the waist trainers, they were trying to be super sexy. When you see the people selling the Flat Tummy Tea, they're trying to be super sexy. And it's sold to women who are like, well, shoot, I want to try Flat Tummy Tea. Am I going to look like that? If I put on a waist trainer, will my waist be snatched like that? Yes, it does work. I think, I don't know. I've never asked any other women or not, but I feel like some women probably won't want to admit, like, wait, we're selling sex to ourselves.
Yeah.
Or sexy, I should say.
Well, I think it's...
Well, I feel like that's the whole thing. I mean, because there are things that I know that women probably do that, the idea is like, I guess the idea behind it is probably that maybe subconsciously or maybe I don't know. On some level, the idea is that this is something that a man expects or is attracted to or whatever, or this is at least what society expects of me. And it's something that I feel like everything I'm saying right now just sounds crazy. No.
Do
saying
you
wrong.
also believe women listeners?
I don't know.
Your audience, you're not sure? Before I say this, women, please don't come for me. But I honestly feel like we dress more for each other than we do for men.
That's what I was trying to say.
We really do. You want your friends to be like, oh, you look so cute. Oh, I like your hair. Yes, you do want male attention too, because it would suck if you didn't get any male attention. That would suck. But I feel like more so, we really want the approval of other women, because if you get the approval of other women, then it's like saying, okay, So then if I can outdress all these women, then surely I'll get the man.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's really, I mean.
Well, I noticed here in Atlanta, like we're in me and my fiance were in Lenox Mall, which is where you go to, I don't know, show people how much money you have, I guess. I don't know. But it was interesting watching people because she made a comment. It's like, wow, like that's what you have to do to compete. And I was like, but look around at the guys. Look what they're doing. It's the same thing on a different, they may not, be wearing less or whatever, but they definitely have their own version of, everybody looked like either a backup dancer or a hype man,
Yeah.
But it was like on the same level. I think it's just for men, it's just a different thing. And yeah, there's 100% that like a lot of men do things because they want the approval of other men also.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
We still want male attention, but we also want the attention of other women as well. It's true.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you sell like so. When I was studying marketing, when I didn't finish my master's degree, one thing that you do in marketing, basically you can market, like I can sell you something using a woman. As a man, I can sell you something using I can sell to a man using a woman, and at the same time I can sell to a woman using a woman, because a woman will be attracted to someone who is in her aspirational group. So
Yeah.
that's the same thing. Like if you had a commercial with that's mainly for a women's product, but it's got a man in it. As a man, I might watch that just because I'm like, what is he doing? What I should try and do that, that type of thing. So that's why, like, because I never cared that much, but like that's why I like Victoria's Secret, like those catalogs that come out are for women, but they're for men too.
Yeah.
And it's like that weird thing where it works both
Well,
ways.
they operate in a gray area because it's like, how else are you going to show what it looks like?
Well, you're right. But I'm sure that they also play to men too. I mean, like, cause you could send me that catalog with just the Victoria's Secret logo on the front, and as a woman, I know what's in there and I know what I'm looking for. But that's not what they put on the front, because as a dude, I can see that and be like, let me just peruse this right quick.
Well, but also for women, we're attracted to beauty, whether that be on another woman or a man or whatever. So they're gonna put something that's gonna attract women and men on there. Yeah.
And I think women. I think in the same way it's similar for men. It's just women are more likely to admit. They're more open to admitting being attracted to beauty or whatever, and not being worried about somebody saying something. More so than men, because men will do the same thing. They're 100% like men that follow other men, aspirationally, But I mean, they'll pass it off as something else. Like, no, man, I just like
He's got a cool car.
He cute or whatever. No. No, but yeah, it would be the same thing. But they, a lot of people can't. They won't admit. It's like, oh, okay, I just think this, he, something about him is attractive to me.
Yeah.
Even if it's not on that level, but something is attractive about it. So.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so my next question, I haven't written any of these down, but do you notice, or have you noticed like how in advertising women are generally placed in certain roles? At some point in time, I'm sure we talked about this before, like, and a lot of times in advertisement, you'll see women, of course, they're playing the sexy bimbo type of role, or they're playing like the mom role, but very rarely will you see them like maybe business owner. Well, they might be a business owner, but it's gonna be like a flower shop or something womany. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I will say it's gotten better. It's gotten more diverse and different. But I mean, in older advertisements, most women advertisements were either like playing the sexy role, or they were playing a mom.
What you're saying is you haven't seen any women in like a advertisement for like Ram trucks or something like that.
No, I don't think you would.
No. I agree. What I was gonna say earlier, we had an experience at work. We were trying. So I work for an engineering company, and we rolled out a new product or something. This was like a year or so ago. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we were creating an ad for an engineering magazine, and it was an advertisement for some of our training that we were offering. Anyway, so the person over training is a woman, and she is an engineer. The graphic designer is a woman. The CEO who had the final say is a man, and then the rest of the design team, is a mixture of us. So the person over training, who was the woman, okay, the graphic designer chose a woman to advertise this training that we were offering, which is for an engineering software. See if you guys can follow my story. So the overtraining, who is a woman who is an engineer, told her, don't use a woman because you're trying to advertise to men, but women aren't really engineers like that. And I'm looking at her like, but you're an engineer. She was still stuck in this mindset of, yeah, but it's just not realistic. There's not that many of us. Use a man. So it was all this back and forth. So the graphic designer chose a man. He looked a little hipster-ish in what he was wearing. He just looked more of a hipster type, but he was still at a desk, doing engineering type things, I guess.
Holding a pencil.
Whatever that
is. Holding a pencil, right. So then there was a bunch of back and forth about that. Like, oh, but engineers don't look like hipsters. Engineers don't look like this, blah, blah, blah. So it turned into this big ordeal. Finally, we took it to the CEO. The CEO was like, use a woman. That was it. That the ad went out. It did well. But what was interesting was the woman who was an engineer felt like using a woman to represent engineers wasn't realistic. They also felt like using someone who looked more like a hipster wasn't realistic. The joke is, a few months later, we hired an engineer that looked almost exactly like the hipster guy. So I think we come up with these ideals of what, roles we should play and what roles represent. Like you were just saying, you would never have a woman in a Dodge Ram ad. Well, we haven't so far, but maybe that's a thing. Maybe there's some subculture of women who drive Dodge Rams, and maybe that is an untapped market that, people are missing out on because they feel like they don't look this, people who drive Rams are not women, or, you know what I mean? I feel like
probably stand out because it'd be so, at some point you aren't going to find the guy with a deeper voice or in a, more
right.
cowboyish.
What would happen is you would have so many women excited to see representation from a woman in a Dodge Ram commercial that women would be like, yeah, and I drive a Ram, and you see everybody posting their Rams on Instagram, and then Dodge would be very happy. But they have to be willing to push that envelope and say, maybe this is a thing. Maybe we should step outside of the norm and, represent other people in these ads.
Well, I think a lot of it goes to, in at least in advertising, is it like, back in the day, and I guess in what you would call the traditional American household or whatever, the man is the breadwinner, and the man can be also the decision maker in terms of cars and any type of purchase. So it's like we need to sell to the guy who can actually make the decision.
Yeah. I just feel like we have to do better at reflecting reality. Like currently, all of those roles have been turned on their heads. Women are working. Women are driving Dodge Ram. I don't know that that's true.
Women are voting.
Women are right. Newsflash: women can vote. But I feel like we have to keep current in this. Just open your eyes and think about reality right now. Women are working. Women are doing things other than in the kitchen. Now, I will say that I don't like that women are so offended by seeing women in the kitchen or being mothers or whatever. Those are honorable things, and I think we're teetering on this line of those not being as honorable as being a business owner. No, being a stay-at-home mom is just as honorable as owning a business. And I think women right now are kind of teetering on, we don't want to be seen as that anymore. And it's like, no, that's a good thing to be seen as someone who this day and age is willing to stay at home and take care of their kids. Not that you have to do that, but if you choose to, that's just as honorable as owning a business. You don't have to prove that women are just as important as men by saying we don't cook anymore. No, you probably should cook. Everyone should cook, in fact, men and women. That's not a bad thing. You have to eat. You know what I mean? I feel like we have to have a balance. Don't try to shun all the ideals of womanhood. Those things need to be celebrated just as women in business.
It's like the goal is to have the option, you know.
Right. Yeah. Like,
because I can.
Feminist. I don't want to see it. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I can still eat chicken and watermelon all I want, but I have the option of eating other things and drinking from whatever water fountain I want to.
Right. The thing is, just don't judge me because I eat chicken and watermelon.
I should be free to put whatever I want in my potato salad. All right.
Oh gosh.
No, I think I know with like advertising. I mean, the things I design, I know I that is my little civil rights movement. Some people march. I find stock photos of colored people and wait to see who said something.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's a tough search. I was gonna tweet about it, but we can talk about it. Like, there's a few things like, if you want to find a black person in a canoe, like on iStock or whatever, you're not going to find it. But I think that's like going back to the woman's topic. Like, if you go in and type in manager, you're not going to, you'll find a few women, but not that many. And I don't know. I think a lot of the whole stock photo, that's a whole different discussion. But I think a lot of it is, it kind of reinforces itself, because like, if the only images I see of engineers, like you were saying, or managers or whatever, flower shop owners, are a specific type of person, look a certain way, that type of thing, it's going to reinforce the idea in my head, like, that's not, I don't look like that person, I can't do that. We had an episode a while back where we talked about, like, you know, like in our particular career paths or whatever, like, if you think of a graphic designer or a web designer, you do not think of me. And I don't, and the sad part is I don't think of me either. Like, if I had to design something, I would not put me on it, because I don't look like what the you know, the stereotypical person would be in this role. So it's weird.
Yeah, I deal with that often, and I honestly live in a bubble, so I forget that it's a thing. I was doing a video shoot for this company, and I showed up with my equipment. Like, they knew that they hired me, they contracted me to shoot this video. They knew that. And then when I showed up with my equipment, they asked me, "Is this your equipment?" Yes.
Like, was that racist or sexist or?
I think it was more sexist than anything, because they asked me again later.
Well, that's progress.
I was like, why do you keep asking me that? And I was like, oh, I guess men are more likely to be videographers than women. You don't really see him. And I was like, why do they keep asking me that? Oh, okay, I'm a woman. They probably feel like that's different or weird or, you know, new. But I'm like, why would you hired me to do this job? Why are you surprised that I have equipment? What did you think I was going to show up here?
Where is your man?
But,
why do you have this equipment? Bring your man. Is he in the car?
This is what's funny, though. The second day that I went to shoot, I did have a friend with me who just happened to be in town, and I was like, well, hey, come with me on this shoot, you know? And he was helping me with audio, and they asked me again, is this your equipment? And, well, no, they asked if it was his. And I was like, I told you this was mine. Why are we still addressing this? And I realized, like, I guess you don't see women in video as
A lot
often
of
as
times
you do men.
it's
What did
a thought of it as an authority figure. So, because I've had that situation as well. I was listening to some podcast. They were talking about basically women in meetings and how like a woman can come to a meeting with a bunch of men or whoever else is there, and she may be saying the same exact thing as a man, but if she says it, it's more likely to be dismissed. And a guy can say the same thing, and it may just be because of his tone of voice or whatever, but it's more likely to be dismissed and put aside because I've been places with like someone who is my boss. They're a woman, and people come to me like, "Hey, so you here to do the thing?" And I'm like, "No, she is." And it's like, "No, what?" Clearly, I'm like way younger. I'm not dressed as professionally. Why would I be the guy in charge?
Yeah, because you're the man. Now, I will add another layer to that. Something I have noticed is I feel like men, particularly white men, respect black women more than white women. So I've been in meetings and like one of my coworkers will say something who's a woman, and then I'll say it. The room is quiet. Like you can hear a pin drop. I don't know if it's because it's like the black girl's intelligent or if it's
they don't want to make you
I
angry.
think it's
they don't want to
make her angry.
Any of those things. Like there's a different type of respect or fear or something they have.
Seriousness or like a genuineness.
Yeah. It's. I think it's a combination of things. Now, as far as like thinking that I was the boss over a man, probably not. But in terms of speaking up, I feel like they listen a little more to black women than white women.
It's because you speak so well.
Progress.
You speak so well for a person.
Or colored.
One thing that. Oh, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just been my personal experience, but I have no.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was thinking about is sometimes, every once in a while, I see it, and just because I, know about SEO and stuff like that, it annoys me. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like argument, or actually, your president made that argument last week that Google was biased or something like that. But sometimes, you'll see people. It's like, oh, when you Google beautiful, look what comes up, and it's like, you can fix that.
Right. Exactly.
Like. That's not like I don't feel like that's a conspiracy as much as like you don't you don't use alt tags when you post things.
Exactly. That's a problem.
It's like you can work on this. But people use it as an argument, and then I'm like, this isn't. Nah, never mind. But so just like seeing like people seeing women as managers or whatever, you can post a bunch of pictures and put manager next next to a picture of a woman a lot of times, and you're making ripples in a ocean, but eventually but you could start in a certain area. You could say black woman manager, and then you could start chipping some things away, and it's every little bit helps, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
When you see advertisements where, I know we've kind of covered that they're not used that much, but when you do see advertisements where they are kind of aiming for the low-hanging fruit of the male population or whatever, does that affect your opinion of the company?
No. I'm desensitized to it.
Okay.
Like, I almost don't even notice. You know what I mean?
Because I know why they're doing that.
Yeah, I know why they're doing that, and unfortunately, I don't care.
Well, so I'm thinking like from the perspective of, let's say like a company like that was all about like healing the world and being healthy, like Whole Foods or some like really progressive seeming company were to do something like that. I feel like that would change my opinion somewhat of them, because some companies like Doritos or Pepsi or something, like I 100% expect that.
Yeah.
But like if you're a hipstery type company and you're doing that, I'm like, wait a minute.
Kind of like how like
You guys,
Shea
you
Moisture did or
changed.
something like that. Like the whole Shea Moisture thing, where people
Yeah.
felt they were changing the whole,
They were backsliding by using white women.
the oppressor.
And even that was really subtle, I feel. But if a company like Whole Foods or Panera or somebody did something like that, I think it would be so odd that I don't know. I think more so than being like, let's boycott, I think I would feel like I need an explanation for this, because what happened to Whole Foods?
How did this get approved?
Who got fired? Like, what happened here?
Why does this T-shirt say monkey?
Right. I'd expect that from H&M. Like, all of that makes sense. But if a company went that far back, I would feel like there's got to be an explanation behind this, or something terrible happened in the company. Like they got bought out by McDonald's, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I might feel some kind of, I can't say because I've never seen that happen.
But that would be such a drastic
think
change that it's like, I'm
Yeah.
not even offended. I'm just, what?
I'm
What are
worried.
you
Is the
doing?
company going under? What's happening?
Yeah.
Well, I think in some cases, well, like especially with like big companies, because like Coke and like McDonald's are ones I think of where I feel like they probably have different ad strategies for different segments of the market. So you segment your market and say, okay, here's the Whole Foods crowd. They're going to care about these type of things. And
Right.
here's just Joe from North Dakota who just wants to see TNA. So we're going to send him that type of ad and this other person a different type of ad. And I believe they do that, because I've definitely seen that type of thing. I can't remember what company it was from, but I've seen something like that where it was like an ad that was really off brand from what I was familiar with. Because like McDonald's, most of the ads I see for them are more on the health food side of things.
Yeah.
Or like we got salads and whatever else they have that's healthy. But then you will catch the ads where it's like, we got chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the actual commercial? There's a black guy that comes up.
We got chicken nuggets for y'all.
Where does that show?
But I think overall, like you said, like we've all kind of said, is like I think there's going to be less of it, because now even with segmentation and everything, someone's going to see it that was not in that target audience, and they're going to post that on Black Twitter, and then everyone's going to find out, and it's going to be a problem. So it's probably better to just be diverse everywhere. But I mean, I can completely understand, like when you're like selling trucks and stuff like that, most of your audience is not interested in seeing a woman drive a truck.
Right.
Unless she's like got a bikini on or something like that.
And I honestly, as men, would that make you want to buy that truck? At this point in life, like if you saw a woman in a bikini driving a truck, does that make you want to buy it?
No.
I have no interest in buying a truck, period. But like, be it a truck or a car, that wouldn't affect me.
Something like that would be more effective if it's a guy driving the truck and the woman is in the riding with him or something like that.
But I still feel like that's appealing to like the more,
that's like a sports
the
car
base
kind of
urges.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's like basic. Like, no, but that car is trash.
Yeah.
Like I know. I think it would work for
research.
like a younger audience.
We can do too much research now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can find out. But I mean, I think it's more appealing, in my opinion, to like a younger person, possibly the person who probably can't afford that car. Because like if I'm in high school and I don't know much about girls or whatever, I just want girls to talk to me, and I see this guy with a car and girls in the car, then it's like, it's math. Like 1 + 1, me plus car equals girls.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah.
But I'm older now, so I know.
Yeah.
I have experience. I had a car in high school, and there weren't that many girls trying to get in.
That was
Yeah.
an escort.
And
My car was trash too.
Well, to be fair, I had a trash car in college, and there were plenty of people that wanted to ride to Walmart. So
Yeah. But they just wanted a ride. Like,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, a
What were
lot
you
of this
saying,
is
Sophia,
learned
before this
experience.
goes down a weird...
Unfortunately, porn is a lot more available now. And back in the day when it was big to use half-naked women to sell cars, it was just like, oh, there's a half-naked woman, and this is edgy because this is on a magazine or on a commercial. But now it's like,
Right.
we could just watch porn if we want to. Like, is that all you got?
on Instagram.
In a
Like, I mean, that's
bikini
not...
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, what's the name? Kim Kardashian. She's like dropping new nudes like every few months. So it's like, all right, I saw the first set. I'm good.
Right. It's like a woman in a bikini in a Camaro. Ew, Camaro's gross. But, you know, no one cares. I don't, I feel like men have, I don't know. Maybe I think more highly of you all than I should. But I just feel like that doesn't work. When you, the last car commercial there are two car commercials that have really stuck out to me lately. The last one was, I think, a Super Bowl ad. I can't remember what car it was, but they used the guy, the astronaut dude.
Buzz?
Huh?
Neil Armstrong?
Yeah.
Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah. Whoever. What, is he still alive? One of them that was still alive. He's super old. It's a flashback between, like, him blasting off to space and him driving this car, blah, blah, blah. That was the most impactful car ad I've seen in a while. And then the one with this black girl driving a car, and she's like, here comes the new flavor in your ear. I don't know why that's one.
Oh, because you're black.
It's not good. I think that's probably why it sticks out. Like, she wasn't even doing the song well, but I don't know.
I feel like there's a Toyota car thing like that too, or I feel like something. There's like an ad with like a bunch of women and stuff like that. I thought it was a car commercial. I guess she didn't do that good of a job because I don't remember what it was about.
Maybe, but
I remember the commercial, but I don't know what they were selling.
But I feel like we've moved away from having to use women to sell to men in that way, because men have far more intense opportunities as far as seeing naked women. You know, it's like these women are, you know, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's I mean, I agree with you. It's probably a lot more effective to sell women in that way. So.
Exactly, it is more effective. Now, I don't know how they sell to men now. They just make everything look really cool and really like you're gonna look like a.
Yeah, get a rapper to wear it. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, an athlete or something like that. You know, and then
if you think about like you talked about earlier, like the Dodge Ram commercial. I probably haven't seen one recently, but I've seen Ford commercials and stuff like that. All they're doing is it's selling a fake lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because most people that drive trucks aren't construction workers. They aren't towing trees or whatever they do on the commercials. And most people that drive those trucks don't look like those people in the commercials. Because if you're driving a pickup truck, most likely, at least around here, you're probably not white. You're probably brown.
Yeah. That's bad because I saw that the other day and I was like, because I think that too, especially here in Atlanta because you don't see trucks very often. And I was like, not nearly as much as Alabama, and I saw something that was like, oh, they probably actually use it. And I was like, well, that was probably racist. But
well, yeah, but like if you're actually using your truck for hauling and doing work with it, most of the people that do that, it's just, at least around here, and it's not like to be racist, but they're not white. The white people that do that, there are some white people with trucks, but they're just like, I just have a truck.
It's mostly just for their flags.
They like to go off-roading or mudding, or it just looks cool to drive a big old truck with lifters, you know,
Yeah.
You know. But nobody's really driving trucks like that.
No.
But I think a lot of that is it's
selling an image. It's the idea.
It's selling an image because, like, I was thinking about that with like advertisements for like expensive cars, like Mercedes and stuff like that. A lot of times they'll have like these young, successful-looking people in the commercial, but I'm like, you know, like they're a 25, 30-year-old, whatever, and I'm like, you couldn't afford that car.
No, you can't afford
at that age.
Until you're 40. Yeah, 40 or 50. Let's not.
Yeah, because most of the people that actually drive them are a lot older, and it's same thing with like swimsuits and like everything. I feel like you're selling to an audience that is not the people that are pictured in your ad most of the time.
Yeah.
Yep. They want to make
Same
people,
thing. 100% true with like hip hop. Most of it is being sold to white people.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They want to make you feel like if you purchase whatever this is, or yeah, they want to make you feel like if you purchase this, you'll be as cool as this person, or make you feel like you can purchase it even though you really can't afford a Mercedes at 25.
You can't afford the one they're gonna try and they'll put in the picture. You could afford one,
Well, yeah,
but
yeah,
it might
yeah.
be
The older one.
it might be off the used car lot.
But you're not gonna afford the brand new one. You're not.
No,
No.
Not the average 20-year-old.
No, though, and the one that people that can, they don't look nearly as cool
No.
as the people in the ad.
No.
Because they probably don't care. They don't watch the ads.
Nope. They don't have.
So it's like a cycle of trying to convince people to buy stuff that can't afford it, and so they work hard so they can afford it and they can buy it and they can be like the people that they think they want to be like.
It's the impressing that going broke trying to impress the people that you don't like.
Yeah.
And that aren't watching.
Yeah.
I had another question. I was trying to remember what it was. So in your work, do you intentionally try to, or does it matter to you? Do you intentionally try and
Let me reword that.
show women in different roles?
Let me reword that question. What are you doing to help women?
Oh, that's nothing.
So I have a Fashion Nova discount code you can use.
What am I doing in my work? Honestly, I feel like I'm just doing my work and doing it well, and I feel like that's enough. I feel like I don't have to do any more. Maybe that's a cop-out, but I work in an industry where there are not very many women who do videography or edit, so just doing it and letting people know that I do this, I guess, is empowering women or helping men to see that women can do this and do it well. Other than that, I must say maybe I'm not doing enough, or maybe I'm not doing anything.
Well, you did do a 5K. I mean, that was...
But that wasn't for women. I guess it does send the message that a woman can organize this.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good thing. I mean, because a lot of people have the pressure that they have to be the one on the forefront, and it's like, no, you existing and doing your work. That's a lot of times that's something that, I mean, that's, it's not like, you don't want to associate it with doing nothing, but it's Kanye West said, slavery. I mean, wait, no. That's another quote. Your presence is a present.
Yeah. And I feel like, I will say this. Whenever I get an opportunity, I talk to men. I have friends that are men and just friends. And I feel like that is important because the last thing we want to do, even as far as race, you don't want to be so polarized that you can't talk to white people and they can't talk to you. Same thing with the Me Too Time's Up movement. Don't put yourself in a position where it's women against men. You know what I mean? Like, be able to talk to men and have a conversation with men and share with them how you feel and listen to how they feel, and just be normal people, as opposed to having to wear a feminist flag on your head. I feel like that's, in some ways, it's counterproductive.
Well, I think in some ways also the some of the Me Too proprietors of the Me Too movement, or some of the people who did the Me Too stuff, the Weinsteins of the world. I think some of them got in the position where they are because
the Me Too
they got
nominees.
to a point. Well, like you said, you got to be able to still talk to these people, and it can't be us versus them.
Yeah.
So if you're in a situation where you feel like women just don't like me and I hate that they keep turning me down, then what's your next step? You're going to try and get rich and powerful so that you can force them to do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
And that kind of perpetuates the problem. So you got to still be able to talk to them and be like, hey, please?
Yeah. And then once again, women, please don't come for me, but I've seen this a lot. When when you're not used to having platonic male friendships, I think sometimes it's hard for women to just send friendly energy to men. We feel like, oh, this is going to be something, he must like me, or do I like him, or it doesn't have to be all that. You can send, and I think, I don't know if people are going to understand what I mean, but there's a certain energy you can send that's like, no, I'm not here for this, but yes, we can be cool and we can be normal people. And I feel like the more men encounter that, the more men will be able to cipher through their feelings of, am I attracted to this person, or am I attracted to them as, we're just cool. So this can just be us being cool. It doesn't have to be like, I have to try to holler at her because she's a woman. And that's what men do. Men holler at women. You know, I feel like the more we're able to actually coexist with each other and understand how each other works, I don't know, how we operate, then the more we'll be able to just be normal people. And, you know, like, you don't have to rape a woman because of what she has on. That doesn't have to happen. You can actually look at a woman who may not have on very many clothes and actually still be able to have a conversation with her without raping her. Like, that can actually happen. But I think
that seems like a bit much to ask.
But I feel like we as women do have to control the energy that we put out, and so do men.
Yeah. No, I understand how that is. I find myself sometimes, because I'm aware of that, I find myself asking people. I mean, you know, usually like women, because I don't want them to feel like I just think I know. I mean, because, yeah, I know more about coding than other people that I work with, because that's my job and it's not theirs. But also at the same time, I don't want to come off, you know, mansplaining or what, you know, however that is. I mean, I don't always know exactly how that looks.
Right.
But, you know, I like to start with like questions like, do you know what this is? Do you know how you
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about women and advertising and selling to women and that type of stuff. But how has it been working in a, you know, kind of a creative environment as a woman? Because like I said at the beginning, like I worked with a pretty good number of women in what I do, in terms of graphic design and web design stuff. But how has it been for you? And do you feel like, have you experienced like, you know, like, I guess discrimination? I don't know. I don't want to take it down that path, but how's it been?
It's been fine, honestly. I'm not sure if it's because where I work, there are no other options. Like, it's not like they can disregard what I say and go with what the man says, because it's just me. So
they have to go on Google to find out if you were lying.
Exactly.
Go ask people on the street.
She said that this is how this works. Is that true? So I don't know. I would like to give a more controversial answer and say, you know, it's been awful, but it hasn't. I've worked with a lot of men, but even before this company, and it was fine. Yeah, it's actually hasn't been that bad.
Do you end up working with many women at all, or no, not really? Like in the same, like in the creative area, not necessarily like management or whatever, but in the same kind of same lateral as you.
Yes. Initially, the marketing department was comprised of all women and one man. Yeah, the marketing director was a woman, and then the rest of us were women. And then there was one man. And then that kind of changed, and then there were 3 women and 3 men. And now there's just me. So
Wow.
Well, I'll say, like, for everywhere I've worked, especially in the marketing area. Like even when we one of the companies I work with, like so the marketing department was just me and one lady,
Mhm.
but they hired an outside firm to help with some website work and stuff like that.
Mhm.
All the people that I met from that outside place were all women. They had some guys like somewhere doing some work, but I never met them. Most of the front face of marketing was women, and that makes me wonder: are
We're running
If
the
you're
design world. Let me just tell you.
well, no. I'm just thinking like I wonder if the people that like so the people that are coming out, they were coming to meet with the CEO of the company that I work for, men,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'm wondering if they sent women out because they knew they were coming to meet with a man and she might have some
Mhm.
way to work her feminine charms on him. I
Mhm.
don't know. Because thinking back, I do remember, yeah, there's more to the story, which may explain why I only met women from that company. But anyway, most of the
Mhm.
places I've worked, in terms of like the more creative part of marketing and design, it was mostly women, and then the guys doing like the coding of websites and stuff like that, it was always guys.
Yeah.
Because everywhere, like so, a couple of places where I work, I would come in and tell people, yeah, I do graphic design and I do UI stuff and make sites look good.
Mhm.
And most of the time, the guys there, they're like, yeah, my wife does that, and I always be like, oh. I wouldn't say that I felt bad, but it was like, oh wow, I'm the woman of the team,
how
which
does that make
shouldn't
you
be an
feel?
insult, but I don't know,
Right.
it was weird.
Well, in my graphic design classes in school, most of it was mostly women.
Hmm.
Interesting.
I mean, but then it was a lot of them were like, all right, well, getting married, and then I don't think they did it anymore. I mean, not all of them, but
Yeah, that sounds really sexist, but I believe it to be true. Because in my
Yeah.
design classes in college too, it was a there was a pretty good number of women or young ladies, and a lot of them got pulled aside by various things.
Mm.
Nothing's wrong with that.
That's interesting.
but it wasn't like a thing they were pursuing like hardcore. It was kind of like a not all, of course not all of them, but a lot of there were people that I noticed that as a trend. It was like, oh, okay, well, this is it's the fun college class,
Mhm. Mhm.
but not not actually. I don't know. Maybe it was a region. Maybe this is problematic.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm worried I shouldn't say anything anymore. So, yeah.
Probably not. Probably shouldn't.
I don't
But
know.
I
This
mean,
is just something I noticed.
I've worked with in marketing. Well, I guess it's technically two. It's technically, I guess it's three of us because they include the demand generate, whatever case. But yeah, it's kind of a similar thing. I mean, well, I do a lot of the creative stuff, but I do some of the coding too. So, but the lady I work with does a lot of the boring like SEO, like running numbers and
Mm.
writing all the stuff I don't want to do.
Oh, this is sounding worse and worse.
It does.
No,
Sounds
she doesn't
awful.
work for me. It's just like just the different roles that I mean, like you were saying, like the different roles, because we don't have a big department. But I do know that like, times we're like thinking it's like, oh, well, we need one more person. We need a marketing coordinator. And the person I usually picture is a woman doing that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know if that's,
Sexist. It is.
oh, okay. Okay. Just checking.
I don't know. That's interesting. I do know that in the video world, I don't come across other women very often at all. In marketing, in graphic design, yes, but in like web development and video, I don't. I don't see it often.
Yep. On my team, like, so I'm doing web development now. On my team, there's one woman, and well, actually, crap, there's two. I forgot about one. There's two women.
Mm,
She's
Um,
mm.
and I actually really pushed for one of them to get hired because they weren't really trying to hire her that much. I pushed for her to get hired because, and then in meetings, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but in meetings, I'll often try and ask them to share their opinion, because I'll see where it's just in any meeting, like whoever talks the most generally gets heard more.
Yep.
Even if I like interrupt and say one thing that's like really poignant and on point, someone else can just talk for 30 minutes and they're more likely to get their stuff accepted. So I try and kind of favor them in terms of like, what do you think? Or did y'all hear what she said? I do that a lot. Did you hear what she said? Because
that's very good.
they will say stuff.
Being an ally.
Yeah, I try to be an ally because like I was reading something somewhere, like women will say stuff that's really intelligent in meetings and then it'll just be 100% ignored.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, okay, and then just keep on like nothing was said. So I'll be like, I'll interrupt and say, did you hear what she said?
Yeah, that's really good. We need more of that.
Because I don't know, I think it's just a habit thing where it's like, oh, this person has a deeper voice, I should listen to them.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, that's scientific. They say something about lower timbre is easier to hear than,
That's interesting because I remember I was listening to the radio and they were talking about how they're kind of connected, sort of. They were talking about how like all the personal assistants, the AI stuff like Alexa, Siri, and all that, it's all women.
Interesting.
But in some like random country in Europe, I think it's a man. But they were basing it like on like there was a discussion about why that was. Like it just for some reason it appealed more to people.
But it's what you've been conditioned to accept.
It's the same reason, like same thing, like in video games, like a man is more likely to play a character in a video game that's a woman than a woman is to play a male character.
That's interesting.
I think because so earlier when we were talking about like the lady from the Pine Sol commercial, I think part of the reason why that works is because we're used to seeing black women clean stuff. And that's an old thing. That's not even this generation per se, but it's like, oh, I can trust her. She cleaned the house real good. And it's like, what? And the same thing with the Popeyes woman.
Yeah.
It's building trust.
I mean,
it's subtle, but it's building trust.
Yeah.
Like,
but honestly, if you had, Karen in that same position, it wouldn't be appealing.
No, it wouldn't, but it's...
You just want to see it.
I think it's kind of... I don't know. It's kind of sad that that's what's happening. And I don't think the companies are per se doing it on purpose, but when you do your market tests and your market research or whatever, it's gonna work because that's what works.
Yeah. It's like when I see black people and some of them, it's like people that I think are like very forward thinking and doing stuff or whatever, and it's like, wait, y'all are doing something with McDonald's now? Interesting. I mean, get your check, but like, huh?
Yeah.
As a woman in the creative field, do you have any advice for other women who may be considering it or whatever? Because I know, at least for me, I'll say it's important to see examples. It's important to see like someone else doing what I want to do, and that's kind of why, like, we've had an episode in the past where we talked about that, like how I saw an example of someone doing what I wanted to do. Not necessarily exactly, but I saw someone that looked like me doing what I wanted to do, and that made it more palatable or more reasonable for me to want to do it. Just like, if I want to be a rapper, it's easy because I see mad people doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say do it. If there's something you want to do, just go for it and don't feel threatened because you may be the only woman doing it. Just do it. And we're living in a time where now's the time to do things that women have not been doing in the past. I say go for it and don't feel threatened by it, and just do whatever it is you're doing and be great at it.
I feel like you're just quoting that Colin Kaepernick commercial.
It does sound like that, doesn't
That's
it?
fine, though.
Well, let's see if I can use different words.
No, that's perfect.
Just go for it. I mean, I don't know. I never realized. I mean, I always knew that certain things women didn't do, But it never stopped me from wanting to do video production or editing or any of those things. I just kind of did it and didn't realize until years down the road, like, oh yeah, women don't do this very
I'm
often.
not supposed to be doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
I would say like another way of saying what you said. Let me explain it for the men out there.
Explain it from
No, but it's like, go do what you want to do. Go run. And then one day you might look around and realize you're the only one there, but don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it wasn't
we'll just insert
until
the Colin Kaepernick commercial like right here.
I know. Don't don't feel like we're copying you when you copied us.
But it was like, it wasn't until I was maybe a couple years into one of my first jobs that I looked around and was like, oh, I am the only black person here. And it was like, so what? I'm going to keep being great.
Yeah. When you really want to do something, it won't matter. You know, I feel like those things that you really want to do, you're gonna just be like, I'm gonna do this. And whatever happens after that, you know, will happen. If you really want to do it, you have to just go for it. I will say, as a woman in whatever field it is, if you have to be conscious that you are a woman in this field and don't let people run over you. You know, use your voice. People will listen when you are assertive and when you know what you're talking about. And if they are not willing to listen, then that's their loss, you know.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to leave it.
Well, thank you, Sophia, for joining us for another episode. The t-shirts we talked about earlier, if you go to racismispetty.com.
Yep.
Okay. Let me sound confident. If you go to racismispetty.com, you can get a t-shirt, or if you go to askablackgirl.org, you can get a t-shirt. Like, it's the same place. You'll get it in the same place. You can buy a t-shirt. So, and she's got lots of t-shirts there, so check that out. She also has a YouTube channel, and I'll let her tell about that.
My YouTube channel is called Ask a Black Girl. Ask a BLK girl is how you can find me on YouTube. And basically, I go around the city and I wear this ridiculous sign inviting people to ask me anything really that they've ever wanted to ask a black person. And I let them know that nothing will offend me. They can ask whatever it is and I will listen or give them an answer if that's what they're requiring. And then I make a video surrounding their question. I have taken a break for a couple months, but I am back. And so you can look forward to more videos being uploaded soon.
That's awesome. I've watched them, and I can vouch.
Well, I'm gonna go burn my Nikes. And,
Okay.
I've been intentionally wearing Nikes to work most of the week.
Awesome. I work from home now, so it won't matter.
Oh, that must be nice.
I went to the gym.
Well, there you go.
Have you seen like all those memes they made of the whole Kaepernick ad? Like, cause I saw one with like Mike Tyson where he's like, sometimes you have to sacrifice everything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she made one too.
You're so wrong. I did.
Oh
make
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. I don't even have to ask.
It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a meme though. It was a thing.
Yeah. I saw it. I was like, no, not specifically yours, but I was like, this is gonna be good for like another 2 days, and then this is people are gonna start uploading like poor resolution photos.
Yeah, I've seen some low quality ones. Did you see the R. Kelly one?
Yes. Oh,
that was.
Lord, we're so creative. The creative people.
That's where we.
Yep. All right. Well, we were supposed to be ending the podcast. Thanks for listening. Check out Ask a Black Girl. Racism is Petty. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.